Today, we're diving into how a cornerstone of ancient medicine is actually becoming a powerful ally in the modern fight against cancer. And we're going to focus on one thing in particular, a small but really potent fruit called amla.
It's a huge question, right? Can something that's been used for centuries actually take on one of our most complex modern diseases? Well, you might be surprised to hear that a whole lot of new research is pointing to a pretty clear answer: yes. So what are we talking about here? What is amla? Well, its scientific name is Phyllanthus emblica, but really it's this small, kind of tart fruit that is an absolute nutritional powerhouse. I mean, for centuries it's been a cornerstone of traditional medicine. But what's really interesting is that now it's getting some serious attention in the world of integrative oncology. And that's just the field that, combines conventional cancer treatments with other therapies that have solid evidence behind them. Okay, so first things first, let's look at the most direct evidence out there, how amla seems to go head-to-head with cancer cells right there in the lab. And what's really striking right off the bat is just how broadly effective it seems to be. In these initial lab studies, researchers didn't just test it on one thing. They tested the amla extract against 6 different major types of human cancer cells. And the scope here, it was seriously impressive. I mean, we're talking about a whole range of cancers: lung, liver, cervical, breast, ovarian, and colon. So this wasn't some niche finding that only worked on one specific thing. No, this showed that it had broad potential across a bunch of very different types of malignant cells. And this quote from the research, it really just says it all. We're not just talking about slowing down growth. The extract was seen to cut the cancer cell population by more than half. And maybe even more importantly, it blocked their ability to invade and spread. So you've got to be asking, what's the secret sauce here? What's actually doing the work? Well, science points to these specific things called bioactive compounds. There are a couple of key players, like gallic acid and another one called Progalin A. You find them in the fruit and the leaves, and they're thought to be the real engines behind these powerful anti-cancer effects. The way it works is pretty incredible. It's like amla flips a self-destruct switch inside the cancer cells. The technical term for this is apoptosis, or programmed cell death. But I think it's easier to think of it less like a sledgehammer and more like a smart bomb. These compounds go in, they signal the cancer cells to basically shut down and self-destruct, all while leaving the healthy cells alone. But here's the thing, amla doesn't just attack the cancer cells directly. That's only part of the story. It also helps beef up our body's own defense systems. It's what's known as an immunomodulator, which is, a bit of a fancy term. All it really means is that it helps train and equip our own immune army to be a better fighting force. And to get this, you need to meet the elite special forces of your immune system, the natural killer cells, or NK cells. That's a great name, right? Their whole job is to seek and destroy rogue cells, like cancer cells, before they can really take hold and become a bigger problem. They are your body's first line of defense. And amla, well, it's like super high-octane fuel for these NK cells. Why? Because it is absolutely packed with vitamin C and these really powerful antioxidant tannins. And these are the components, the raw materials that the immune system needs to really power up. And the difference it makes is pretty stark. With a standard immune response, your NK cells are out there doing their job. But what they saw in these studies, with an amla-enhanced response, the cancer-killing activity of those NK cells was significantly boosted. It just improves the immune system's whole ability to take on tumors. Okay, so we've got a direct attack and we've got an immune system boost. Now let's talk about another really critical role amla might play, acting as a kind of shield, especially for patients who are going through conventional treatments like radiation therapy. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges with radiation is, look, it's great at killing cancer cells, but it can also cause a lot of collateral damage to the healthy tissue around it. So there's this constant search for what are called radioprotectants, basically compounds that can shield the good cells from harm without getting in the way of the treatment. And guess what? This is where we see amla's ancient roots pop up again. It's actually a key ingredient in one of the most famous formulas in Ayurvedic medicine, something called triphala, and that name literally just means 3 fruits. So triphala is a mix. It combines amla with 2 other fruits that are also super rich in antioxidants, called haritaki and bibitaki. And it's the specific combination, this formula, that's been studied for those radioprotective effects we were just talking about, its ability to help shield healthy tissue. All right, so let's recap. We've seen a direct attack on cancer cells, a boost to our immune army, and a protective shield for healthy tissue. But there is one more really fascinating and kind of indirect pathway that we need to talk about, the metabolic connection. So, it turns out the internal environment inside our bodies, I'm talking about our metabolism, our blood sugar levels, that stuff can have a huge effect on how cancer grows and spreads. So the natural question is, could Amla play a role here too? And the answer seems to be yes. One study, for instance, found that just a small amount of dried amla powder each day was actually effective at helping lower high blood sugar levels, bringing them back down into a normal range. And why does that matter so much? Well, here's why that finding is so crucial. You can think of high blood sugar, along with the hormones that go with it, like insulin and something called IGF-1, as basically pouring gasoline on a fire. For a lot of cancers, these molecules are like slamming your foot on the accelerator for growth. And to really put that into perspective for you, some research suggests that cancer cells can have up to 10 times more insulin receptors than normal cells. 10 times! That makes them incredibly hungry for those growth signals. So if you can help manage blood sugar, you're essentially helping to take your foot off that cancer accelerator. It really makes you think, doesn't it? As our scientific tools get sharper and we get better at decoding these ancient remedies, what other natural secrets are just waiting to be revealed? The story of Amla is just an amazing example of how sometimes the future of medicine might just be hiding in the wisdom of our past.